Hello, I'm Garen Davis, and this is the New Hustle TV, the show where we highlight the new definition of a hustler.
Hi, my name is Travon Harper. I am from Los Angeles, California, and my line of work is photography as well as graphic design, and I am the New Hustle. What does hustle mean to me? I'd say to me, I think hustle means, like a lot of other people said, just get up and have a goal and be able to implement that goal and really do your best to accomplish that goal. I know a lot of us, especially here in LA, there's so many people with dreams that when they try to accomplish those dreams, they end up getting sidetracked and they end up falling by the wayside. I think that one of the biggest things that you can do is to be able to have a process when it comes to building your goals and building whatever project that you want. Having that dirty process, all that stuff that happens before you get to this perfect package, I think that's a major part of the hustle. In design, we always talk about process. Process is a extremely important part of showing your work, especially whether or not it be to an audience or whether or not be to a potential buyer. The process is what's important. I think as far as hustling, being able to enjoy that process, sit back and understand the hard work that you did before you even cut the camera on or before you even made that brush stroke. I think that's important, and I think for me, that's what hustling means. Do I consider myself a hustler? Yeah, I would say I consider myself a hustler. And for me, it's a bunch of different ways. I hustle to learn. And when I say that, whenever I feel like I am hindered on something, I try my best to learn everything there is about that thing that I don't know much about. When I first started in graphic design, I only did that because I was a photographer and I wanted to start my own graphic design company. So I didn't want to pay a graphic designer, so I went to school for it. I literally went to school for 3 years and I became a graphic designer. I learned so much about graphic design that I actually didn't want to do the thing that I wanted to do before I started graphic design, which was do magazines. So I wanted to be more of a conscious graphic designer and I wanted to start my own graphic design business. So I didn't know much about the business side of things, but I knew everything about the creative side of things. So what's the next step for me? I went to business school. So I enrolled in a 9-month business program over at UCLA, and I completed that and got a certificate in business entrepreneurship. So for me, I think that I'm a hustler in that aspect of hustling to, be more knowledgeable and honing in and sharpening the skills I need in my craft. What made me select my profession? Well, growing up in Watts, there were a lot of things in the outside that happened outside of my home where, it makes you as a child want to look in. So I would constantly always, try to imagine things, try to imagine better situations, try to imagine better, places that I could be outside of that area. So I think that having that strong imagination that was probably brought on by trauma, I think that allowed me to become more creative in my life. So as I grew older, I just continued to keep that same, I'd say I kept that same attitude about things. Always trying to be creative to make my situation a lot better. And then I ended up going to the military. When I went to the military, I was able to see the world and go to all these different countries and see the beauty in things. I think one of the first countries that I went to where I really fell in love with art, design, architecture was Rome. I mean, of course we all know that a lot of the best artists, Leonardo da Vinci and all those other artists, all those other designers came out of that area. So just being able to see all of that stuff and all of that beauty, I think that really, really motivated me to really think like, hey, I think I want to go into the design realm. I think I want to be a photographer. I want to do something creatively. So I think that that's one of my motivations for being a part of this profession. How did I get started? Well, I got started when I got out of the military. I started going to school over at LACC, LA City College, and there was a photography teacher there that taught us everything we needed to know about the different types of cameras. We did 35 millimeter, we did 4x5, we did everything that had to do from taking the picture, prepping to take the picture, developing the image in darkroom, and then developing the actual picture. So he pretty much allowed me to appreciate the process of photography. Nowadays we have digital photography where, we have the word called spray and pray, where a lot of photographers just can push on to the shutter and then you've taken 100 pictures within a second. Well, back in the days, you didn't do that, okay? You couldn't do that. So I think when I went to that class and he actually taught us how to really, really compose a shot, really, really focus on that shot, spend 5 to 10 minutes prepping that shot, it allowed me to hone my eye and be more conceptual. And I think that that's how I got started. So basically learning all of that helped me to hone my eye and hold my craft. So those are my humble beginnings, I should say. What fears or moments of hesitation have I had before? Coming from Watts, coming from an area where we didn't have much motivation to, do a lot of great things. I think that when I started to get into a situation where I was doing better for myself and I was, making better money and just being a better creative and meeting so many different new people within my profession. I mean, it's scary. You start to think, when am I going to fall back into my original state, which is, where I was when I was younger. You have that nightmare of this thing can't be great forever. It can't last forever. And I had to get out of that mindset. I had to remind myself that, that was a situation, that was something that went on in the past and I was never going back there. So I had to push forward. I had to teach myself how to push forward and give myself the attitude of just not looking back, not using the past as a fear tactic to myself, but using it as a motivational feature so that I can push forward and do better. And I think that's how I overcame those fears. What challenges have I faced along the way and currently? I'd say financial challenges. You want to be able to go and network. You want to be able to go out and do things and be around LA, be around your community of creatives. And a lot of times when finances come in the way, you feel like you can't do that. And I think that in the past, that was a big thing for me. When I financially couldn't do much stuff, I would, spend time in my house, and that would really make me unmotivated too. So I would really, really let that hinder me. But now, I would say I'm not really facing too many challenges now, because I do have I'm in a good position where I can make good money financially and where I can have this financial buffer so that I can be able to do things to where I can network and market myself and just go out and have a good time with people that are in my community, that are in the creative community. So I think now, thank God that I'm not having as many of those now. How do I stay motivated when things get tough? I look at other people's work. I love to look at other creatives' work, and that's one of the biggest motivating factors to me, just seeing other creatives in their element, pushing through and just being successful. I love to see that. Like, I've never been a selfish creative. I've never been a creative that just wants to work by myself and never wants to collaborate with anyone. I love to see other creatives work, and I love to give them props when I do see their work. So I think that that's one of the big things that keeps me motivated. Also, praying. I think that it's extremely important to pray. I try and pray when I wake up early in the morning. I try to pray when I'm troubled, and I also try to pray when I go to sleep. I try to keep that relationship with God, because I think that when I was going through a lot of stuff as a kid, I always prayed as well. I was real heavy in the church when I was a kid. Believe it or not, I was in the choir. And so I was always having a good relationship with God. So I think there was never a time where there was a break in my life where I didn't pray, I didn't have a good relationship with God. So that's one of the things that keeps me motivated and keeps me going. Did I choose my profession for love or for the money? I chose it for the love of it. I mean, photography, starting off as a photographer, was just such a beautiful thing. Just being able to take images, and I really started off doing straight up street photography, just going out in the city and taking images, just being able to create a story with your eye, with your vision, based off just one image. You know what I mean? We all heard the saying, the picture is worth 1,000 words, but you see that when you're able to take a picture and you're able to look at the image yourself, as well as show other people the image and the way they feel. Certain pictures can make a person feel good. Certain pictures can make a person feel sad. Certain pictures can make a person feel a multitude of different ways. But I think that being able to do that and fall in love with photography, fall in love with graphic design, fall in love with just being creative, period. I choose that over any money, any day. What would I tell my younger self if I can go back in time? Buckle up. I mean, things aren't all, daisies and roses. We're gonna go through so many different emotions. You're gonna see so many different things in your life. But just know that it's just gonna make you stronger. It's just gonna make you a better person. Stay positive. Don't use negativity to, boost yourself up, especially negativity against other people. Just try to be as the best representative of yourself, of how God would want you to be as possible. And be friendly. You're friendly already. I just want you to know that already. And just continue to smile, continue to have that high energy that you currently have. And be blessed, What advice would I give someone else starting out in the same field? Have fun. Being a creative is not about trying to find a niche or a market and learning from there how to, be creative in it just because there's money in that market. Being creative is, falling in love with creating what you do. Being able to get up, wake up in the morning, see something outside, see a sunrise, see a sunset, and grabbing your camera and getting out there, trying to drive all the way to Venice to be able to capture that before the sun goes down. Being creative is just seeing something out in the world that motivates you, getting your phone out and going into your notes app and writing notes on how you want to replicate that or how you want to do your own variation of that. That's being creative. So my advice to you is find what you love to do in your creative space. And I'm talking about not something that you're trying to force on yourself because you think that that's going to make you good money. Just find something that you love to do. That's your love letter to creativity, and just do it. I think that because once you start doing that, the money will come, okay? The money's gonna come. We all have been on Instagram, we've all saw different movies, we've all saw these different creative projects that we fall in love with. And a lot of them are passion projects from directors, producers, videographers, photographers, or whatnot. So just don't be motivated by the money. The money will come. What encouraging words can I leave with another hustler starting out? I just say go out, man, and get it, man. Just push forward. Just keep going. I mean, you're going to feel like you're stressed on days. You're going to feel like you're not even doing nothing after a year has passed by and you feel like you haven't earned anything monetarily. But I can rest assured that the things that you've learned in that year are still going to help you along your path. It's a part of the process, as I said before. So trust that process. You hear that a lot, trust the process. So I think that's one of the big things that you need to remember is it's a process. A lot of these things that you see people showing you on Instagram that sometimes you feel like, man, that should be me, that should be me. A lot of times they're not showing what their process is. And I can guarantee you the process that they had to go through to get that was a lot. So just trust your process, and also don't feel unmotivated when you see other people doing good. A lot of times, you know, that's a negative thing that people do. When they see other people doing good, why me? Why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Just focus, have that tunnel vision and focus on your own goals. And I can guarantee you, when you get to that area where you're gonna start seeing your success, you'll appreciate it a lot more. Hi, my name is Travon Harper, and I am from Los Angeles, California. My line of work is I do photography with also an emphasis with graphic design, and I am the new hustle.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on. And again, thank you. Until next time, hustlers.